I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, July the 29th, brought to you in part by Noromycin by Norbrook. Noromycin 300 LA is effective and economical and is your go-to antibiotic for pink eye and foot rot in cattle this summer. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Auction strong, and I tell you what, this week has been a great week for auctions. We've seen big sales, cleaning up the yearlings like I've talked about here for the last several visits. We saw that big impressive sale in Bassett, Nebraska. We saw big sales in all your high volume auctions this week. El Reno, Oklahoma, OKC West, they sold more cattle at their sale barn through the ring than the entire Kansas feedlot area has sold negotiated sales so far this week, which that's really not that big of a deal anymore because they don't sell enough negotiated sales in the southern plains to even swat a fly with. But big sales and some sales that don't always have big runs. Some seasonal sales had some big runs. We saw a huge long string one draft in the Huss Platte Valley market there in Kearney, Nebraska on Wednesday at 911 head in one drive. And I thought maybe it was the biggest drive that there ever was. It was the biggest one that I'd ever seen. And sure enough, had a feeder flash gang member and a former neighbor of mine, longtime backgrounder in Northwest Missouri, M.L. McCrae, King City, Missouri. He called me up and he said, I had a bigger one time. He said it was several years ago, back in the late 80s or in the 90s sometime, but he said I took a long string. Normally ML nowadays, he'll sell, maybe 200 or 300 every 2 or 3 weeks. But back in those days, he said, we didn't have any fall calvers. So I had all those cattle and I marketed them all at one time. And he said I had a big long string of them go up to Lamona, Iowa, where he's sold cattle for 30 years or more, or 40, I guess. And that's how he's developed a reputation. People say, man, I can't ever hit those big bell ringing sales. Well, you switch sale barns every time you sell them, and nobody can keep up with you. Nobody keeps up with your reputation. I told you, when you're selling backgrounded cattle or you're selling strings of calves, you're just like a 16-year-old girl. Your reputation is all you've got, and it's everything, guys. You've got to maintain that. But M.L. McCrae has done such a great job of doing that, and I admire what he's done over the years. I admire the way that he backgrounds cattle and the way that he sells them. But he said, I sold over 1,200 head in one whack. And he said we learned that time that maybe we shouldn't do it like that. He said we offered them the option, and a bunch of the Iowa farmer feeders had come there, and they all pretty much needed 1 or 2 loads, and they kind of got together on us. They took them all, and then they divvied them up later. They were way ahead of your big 4 packers about how to figure how to do that. They were managing the supplies there. And he said, so after we did that in that part of the country where you have some small farmer feeders, instead of order buyers that could buy all of them, any one of them could, he said we found that it was better to auction them off a couple loads at a time and not offer them the option to take them all. But when you get down in the southern plains, or you get up in the central part of Nebraska where you've got more bigger feedlots, it's just as good to go ahead and sell them with the option, because any one of those order buyers could buy them all, and they would like to buy as many as they can to get their orders filled, and especially like kind. So that was just a great conversation there with him, and I thought that I would share it with you guys. But so far, that's the biggest string we've heard of sell at auction one time through the ring was over 1,200 head at Lamona, Iowa there. But what else is going on in your auctions this week? I'm going to be going up to Dodge City, Kansas here on Friday, and they're having a a High Plains video auction there Friday morning. That's the winners. They put that together, and you think, gosh, why are you helping out the winners? They're Cattle USA, and they're your competitor. Hey guys, this industry is way too small to not be able to get along with your competitors, and I support them and what they do, and they support me. They've invited me to come up to Dodge City and be a judge for their King of the Ring auctioneer contest. They've got 10 of the best auctioneers around the United States. Looking forward to seeing what they're going to do. I looked at the list. Any one of them could win it. It just depends on how they perform on Saturday morning, because that's when we're going to have the contest. But I enjoy that kind of thing. Friday afternoon, after they get done with the video and before they have the Cattle Market Hall of Fame induction ceremony, we're going to have some golf polo, or at least that's how I call it, where you drive around in golf carts and drink beer and you swack at the ball as you go by. That's the way I play it, and I've seen John Campbell do the same thing. But anyway, that's always a good time to go out there and do that two-man scramble golf tournament there, and we have a good time doing that. Then everybody's going to go get cleaned up and go to the Cattle Marketing Hall of Fame. They've got 4 inductees. This is a fairly new Hall of Fame that they've started up, and I think it's great. Cattle Marketing Hall of Fame. Bob Rodenberger is one of the induction people there. Jim Santamasso from Colorado is going to be in there. Colonel Ralph Wade, the king of the cattle auctioneers, is going to be there, and he's going to be inducted, and Mark Winter is going to be inducted. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're going to be right there at the Boot Hill Casino. Then we're all going to go over on Saturday morning and watch the King of the Ring auctioneer contest. And then they've got a free lunch there for people that show up. They've got a sponsored lunch there. That's a good time. But guys, all of this is just promoting the auction method of selling cattle. And this week we saw how resilient the cattle marketing is in a sale barn, and we're continuing to see that be strong. It's not just hanging on. It's not still alive. It's growing, and I think it's great. I'm a sale barn junkie. I've sat in them all my life. The last few years here with DV Auction, I haven't sat in sale barns as much as what I have most of my life, but I still enjoy them, and I love telling you guys about them and seeing them market cattle that way. And I've got a bunch of quotes to give you at the end of the report like I always do. But let's talk about your board on Thursday. August live cattle futures down 62 cents at 136.17. October down 50 cents at 141.82. Your back months on live cattle down 40 to up 25. So not any big movers on that, but just kind of jostling around. But 136, that doesn't offer much of a basis there for your Southern Plains guys. In fact, they're upside down on that. If they're looking for a basis with them selling a few cattle in Texas at 135, that they're losing an extra buck if they're not already losing enough there. But August feeder cattle futures down 167 on Thursday, settling at 177.42. September down $1.65 at 180.20. Your back months on your feeder cattle down 87 cents to down 185. Talk about your grains, they were higher on Thursday. Corn, new crop December up 14 3/4 cents, settling at 6.19 for regular trading there on Thursday. Beans were up 30.5 cents. Settling regular trading at 14.40.5, and Kansas City hard red winter wheat with our harvest just about finished up here. September contract up 28 cents at 8.89 3/4 cents a bushel. How about your fat cattle trade? We saw a little bit more trade on Thursday, but still basically nothing in the Southern Plains to speak of. They're making it tough for those guys down there. The guys down in the Southern Plains don't have any leverage at all. That we would love to have Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act and see how that would change things if we forced each one of those large packers in the Southern Plains to participate in, let's say, 10% of their week's kill in a negotiated basis, man, that'd bring them to their milk, wouldn't it? And those few guys that sell cash in the Southern Plains, they could price their cattle like the guys in the North do. And if your packer said, I ain't giving you that kind of money, okay, talk to you later in the week. If they did, and if they don't take the price now, they blackball them for 2 or 3 weeks and let them sit on those cattle. So we need that. Now, Texas Cattle Feeders Association will tell you that we don't, which they're basically representing your big corporate feeders. I mean, that's the ones that pay the bills, pay the light bills around there. Kansas Livestock Association does the same thing in Kansas, and look at them, where they're sitting. You know, we had guys in the Northern Plains selling cattle at 144, and you know, 135 was the best they could do in the Southern Plains. You kidding me? Colorado was confidential, of course. Iowa, 2,500 head confirmed on Thursday. 16,500 head for the week, which is still really low for them, but live sales ranging from 140.5 to 144 on Thursday. Dress sales from 223 to 230. Nebraska, 2,300 head confirmed on Thursday. 20,400 head for the week. That's more normal for them. Live sales on Thursday from 138 to 141. Dress sales from 224 to 228. You know, there's the price ranges, there's markets, there's price discovery. How about the Southern Plains? Kansas sold 1 load of cattle at 223. They've only sold 9,400 head for the week. Texas sold 300 head on Thursday, all at 135, which is a buck lower than last week and a foot lower than the Northern Plains. Only 4,400 head for the entire week so far in the Texas Panhandle region. It's ridiculous, guys. And you know, I'm still trying to get you guys excited about getting behind this Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act. I tell you what, ag media is finally starting to come around. I saw another article that was on Facebook on late in the week here. It was about Lubbock feeders down there saying that they were for it. Can you imagine that they come down to the Texas Panhandle and found somebody that was for it and was willing to say that they were for it? Oh my gosh, besides me. Box beef cutout values were lower on Thursday. Choice cuts down 22 cents at 267.77. Selects down a buck at 240.81. Your slaughter information for Thursday, up through Thursday, 495,000. That's 2,000 less than last week up through Thursday, but 18,000 more than the same week a year ago. Actual slaughter information come back for the week ending July the 16th. Had your average dressed steer carcass weight at 889 pounds, which is down 1 pound from your last report. But that report was 7 pounds larger than the previous one there. So, you know, we really can't say that that's a bullish thing. You know, they're getting the weights back up on these cattle. So we're not nearly as green or not nearly as current as we was, you know, here several weeks ago. But talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the day on Thursday, sitting at 172.38. That was up 28 cents from the end of trading on Wednesday. Talk about your big sales and winter livestock at Pratt. Over at Pratt, they had the Hall of Fame sale, they call it. Had 4,100 head there. Feeder steers are $4 to $7 higher. Feeder heifers are $3 to $5 higher. Steer calves were $10 to $15 higher. Heifer calves were $6 to $10 higher. You think these auctions are not strong, guys? Really having a good sale there at Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas. Looking forward to seeing a lot of those guys in Dodge City on Saturday. How about Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas? They had a big sale, 3,500 head. The market was higher, but they had a much lighter comparison from last week, so really hard to pin it down there. But I saw a stick-out sale in Salina that I thought was impressive. 65 head, 900-pound steers at 177.60. Talk about an impressive sale, and your Zoetis stick-out sale of the day was in El Dorado, Kansas. El Dorado livestock auction there in El Dorado, Kansas. That's right in the heart of the Flint Hills. They don't typically have real big sales. I mean, they have sales every week there, but you know, most of those cattle in the Flint Hills normally sell in the country, private treaty, but people take cattle to the sale when the market's really good or really bad. And they took them here because it's really good right now. And it was a short haul over there to El Dorado, Kansas. A lot of Flint Hill grazed cattle coming in there, coming off the double stock pastures, and that's impressive. And I'm glad that they took them there, and I'm glad that those cattle sold really well, and I'm proud of them there at El Dorado, Kansas. How about this automated market report on Cattle Market Central? You're not going to see this anywhere else because they don't report very many sales in Kansas there. Sure, not reporting El Dorado, but you can see it here on Cattle Market Central. How about 931 head of 8-weight steers in El Dorado, averaged $855 with a weighted average price of $172.08. 402 head of 9-weight steers averaged $949 with a weighted average price of $163.21. On the heifers, the best tested weight was 7-weight heifers, 573 head of 7-weight heifers at $745 on the average with a weighted average price of $166.57. Some other stick-out sales around Maryville Livestock Auction in Maryville, Missouri. I told you that my good buddy Mike Frieden was going to be selling his big load of yearlings in there. He sold them. They sold well. He got support from some of his old friends and new too there at Maryville Livestock Auction, and sold 61 head, 925-pound black baldy steers off the grass there in Fawcett, Missouri at $170.75. Pretty good ticket on those. How about Mitchell Livestock Auction in Mitchell, South Dakota? 6,000 head for them, and most of the steers weighed over a grand. I mean, they make them big there. They background them big, and the weights were selling down here in the Southern Plains. They would think those are stocker type cattle because they take them up to the big weights there, but most of these would be coming out of a lot somewhere but ready to go to feed. Mitchell Livestock sold 65 head of 1,057-pound steers at $174.60 on a market that's in the high 30s, guys, for the most part. How about Bluegrass Stockyard South in Stanford, Kentucky? Sells 60 head of 834-pound steers at $175.95. Way out in Kentucky there, standing in the ring. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday, National Beef Wire top quote for the day, indeed come out of that Zoetta stick-out sale of the day. El Dorado, Kansas sold 105 steers, weighed 843 at $179.50. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.